Maybe you've wondered why some women seem to become even more magnetic after 60, while others feel almost invisible when it comes to love. You probably heard all the usual advice: change your appearance, act younger, be more mysterious, or simply stop expecting too much from relationships. But what if none of that is the real secret? After 60, attraction isn't about proving that you're still desirable. It's about something deeper. The way you carry yourself, the way you communicate, the way you look at a man, and most importantly, the way you value yourself. Because at this stage of life, you've already lived enough to know that attention isn't the same as connection, and chemistry isn't the same as emotional safety. Today, we're going to uncover 5 powerful qualities that can make a woman over 60 deeply unforgettable to the right man. And you may already have more of them than you realize. 1. Learning to receive again. Ruth kept her porch light off for 3 years after her husband passed. Not because she liked the dark. Turning it on meant someone might walk up her steps again, and she wasn't ready for that. I've met a dozen women just like her. 62, 65, 71 years old, still guarding a door they built without ever meaning to. What nobody tells you about that door is this: it wasn't built by weakness. It was built by love. A marriage that mattered leaves walls behind when it ends, and those walls don't come down just because years go by. I believe the deeper someone was loved, the harder it becomes to let a new hand touch that same space again. It isn't fear of a stranger walking in. It's loyalty to what was real, worn like armor long after the danger has passed. You are not a woman who simply stopped trusting people. You were loved well once, and your body remembers exactly what that cost. That's not a flaw waiting to be fixed before Tuesday's coffee date. That's proof of what you're still fully capable of feeling. Receiving someone's care after 60 takes more courage than falling in love ever did the first time, in my opinion. Back then, you didn't know what loss felt like. Now you do, and you're choosing to open the door anyway, knowing exactly what it might cost you this time around. That knowledge doesn't make you guarded, it makes you deliberate. And deliberate is a kind of strength most people mistake for distance. Nobody warns you about this part. The bravest thing in the room might just be letting someone watch you order your coffee, sit down and stay. Opening that door again starts with something smaller than love. It starts with letting your own voice back in the room. 2. Speaking from 60 years of proof. My father used to say a thing to my mother that stuck with me longer than almost anything else he taught me. He'd disagree with her at the dinner table, plain and calm, no raised voice, and then he'd lean back and say she was probably right anyway. Not because he was weak, because 63 years had taught him her instincts were worth more than his pride. I think about that often when I meet women your age who still soften their opinions before they've even finished the sentence, adding a maybe. A small laugh at the end that says, "Don't take me too seriously." As if the thing they just said hadn't already been tested by decades of actually living it. Decades most 30-year-olds haven't even started counting yet. A woman your age has already been wrong about plenty. She's also been right, quietly, more times than anyone gave her credit for that. History is not a suggestion. It's evidence collected the hard way, one mistake and one correction at a time. When you speak your mind now, you're not guessing the way you might have at 30. You're reporting back from a life that already ran the experiment. A man who's paying attention notices the difference immediately. Confidence built on actual proof sounds nothing like confidence built on bravado, and he can usually tell which one he's listening to within the first sentence. You don't owe anyone a softer version of what you know to be true. Say the thing plainly. Let it land exactly as heavy as it is. The words you finally say plainly live somewhere. They live in the body that's been carrying them all along. 3. The body that lived a life. I watched a woman wade into a lake one July afternoon wearing a plain black swimsuit, no cover-up draped over her shoulders, no apology offered to anyone standing on the shore. She looked to be around 68. Her arms had loosened with age. Her stomach hadn't sat flat in decades. She went in anyway and dove under, and came up laughing so hard the whole dock turned to look. Nobody claps for that kind of moment the way they clap for a young body stepping into a pool. But something in the way she moved through that water told me she wasn't waiting for applause. She'd already permitted herself a long time ago, and permission from anyone else had simply stopped mattering somewhere along the way. I don't think a wrinkle needs forgiving. A wrinkle is closer to a receipt. It proves you laughed outdoors more times than you can count, squinted into enough summers to earn those lines, worried over people you loved until your face carried the evidence of it. That's not decline. That's a record. The women who spend the most energy hiding their bodies are often the ones a man notices least, and not because he's shallow. Hiding pulls all your light inward, and there's nothing left in the room for anyone to be drawn toward. Presence takes up space. Apology shrinks it. Your body isn't something to explain away before anyone sees it. It's the only proof you have that you actually lived. A body that has stopped apologizing changes something in the eyes too. It changes what a person lets you see when they finally stop performing. Fall presence over performance. I sat 2 tables away from a couple last spring at a diner. Both of them clearly past 60. And for almost 10 minutes, neither one said a word. No phones out, no forced small talk to fill the gap. She stirred her coffee and looked out the window. He read the specials board he'd probably already memorized. The silence between them wasn't awkward. It was the kind of quiet you only earn. Younger couples fill silence. Like it's a debt they owe each other. A pause becomes something to apologize for, something to fix with a joke or a question. But watching those two, I understood something the dating advice never mentions. The silence wasn't empty. It was full of everything they'd already said to each other over the years, so full that words had become optional. I don't think presence at this age comes from mystery. It comes from having nothing left to perform. You've already lived through enough versions of yourself that trying to seem interesting has stopped being worth the effort, and that absence of effort reads as something closer to safety than seduction. A man who's paying attention can feel the difference between a woman managing his impression of her and a woman simply being in the room with him. One takes energy to maintain. The other asks for nothing at all, and somehow that's the one he can't stop noticing. You don't need a better performance, you need permission to stop giving one. That kind of stillness doesn't happen by accident. It comes from finally knowing exactly what you're no longer willing to chase. 5. Certainty earned, not assumed. A woman I know turned down a second date with a retired surgeon last year. A man with a boat, a pension, and manners so polished he could have stepped out of a catalog. She said no after one dinner. Not because anything went wrong, because within an hour she knew exactly what she wanted and he wasn't it. At 30, that kind of certainty usually gets mistaken for pickiness. At this age, it's something else entirely. It's the residue of every mismatched relationship you already sat through, every version of settling you already tried once and swore you wouldn't try again. I think that clarity is the rarest thing a man will ever encounter in a woman at any age. Most people spend their whole lives negotiating with their own wants until they've forgotten what the original want even sounded like. A woman who knows precisely what she needs isn't hard to please. She's simply done pretending flexibility is the same thing as kindness. What surprises men most is this. That certainty usually isn't pointed at building something new from scratch anymore. It's pointed at finding someone to actually share the life she's already built, which is a completely different kind of wanting than the one most dating advice was written for. Knowing what you want at this age isn't a wall. It's a map, and you finally know how to read it. 5 things, and not one of them asked you to look younger, act younger, or apologize for the years already behind you. Learning to receive again. Speaking from 60 years of proof, a body that's earned every mark on it, presence instead of performance, and certainty that finally knows exactly what it's looking for. None of these are new tricks. They were already inside you long before I said a single word tonight. Most of the world just taught you to keep them quiet. I've sat with enough women your age to know this much for certain. Attraction after 60 isn't something you lost somewhere along the way. It's something you finally get to define for yourself on your own terms without asking anyone's permission first. So before you close this video, I want to ask you something, and I mean it gently. What's one thing about yourself you finally stopped apologizing for? It might be your laugh, your body, your opinions, or simply the years themselves. Write it in the comments if you feel like sharing. This is meant to be a safe place to be honest, and I'd genuinely like to hear it from you.